Carole Penny Marshall is an American actress, television producer, television director, and film director. After playing several small roles for television, she was cast as Laverne DeFazio on the sitcom Laverne Shirley, which ran from 1976 until 1983, during which Marshall was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for her performance 3 times. She progressed to directing films such as Big, the first film directed by a woman to gross in excess of $100 million at the U.S. box office. Awakenings, which was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. And A League of Their Own. She produced Cinderella Man and Bewitched, as well as episodes of According to Jim. She recently directed 2 episodes of the Showtime series United States of Tara. Early life: Carole Penny Marshall was born in New City, New York, in 1943, to Marjorie Irene, a tap dance teacher who ran the Marjorie Marshall Dance School, and Anthony Tony Macchiarelli, later Marshall, a director of industrial films and later a producer. She is the sister of actor-TV producer Gary Marshall and Ronnie Hallen, a television producer. Her birth name Carole was selected because her mother's favorite actress was Carole Lombard. Her father was of Italian descent, his family having come from Abruzzo, and her mother was of English and Scottish descent. Her father changed his last name from Macchiarelli to Marshall before Penny was born. Religion played no role in the Marshall children's lives. Gary Marshall was christened Episcopalian, Ronnie was Lutheran, and Penny was confirmed in a Congregational church, because Other sent us any place that had a hall where she could put on a recital. If she hadn't needed performance space, we wouldn't have bothered. She grew up at 3235 Grand Concourse, the Bronx, a street that also spawned Neil Simon, Paddy Chayefsky, Calvin Klein, and Ralph Lauren. She began her career as a tap dancer at age 3, and later taught tap at her mother's dance school. She graduated from Walton High School and attended the University of New Mexico. In 1967, she moved to Los Angeles to join her older brother Gary Marshall, a writer whose credits at the time included TV's The Dick Van Dyke Show. Career: one of her first jobs was for a TV commercial for a beautifying shampoo. She was hired to play a girl with stringy, unattractive hair, and Farrah Fawcett was hired to play a girl with thick, bouncy hair. As the crew was lighting the set, Marshall's stand-in wore a placard that read Homely Girl, and Fawcett's stand-in wore a placard that said Pretty Girl. Farrah Fawcett, sensing Marshall's insecurity about her looks, crossed out Homely on the Marshall stand-in placard and wrote Plain. She and another actress Billie Hayes were the only 2 auditioned for the role of Witch Hyper for H.R. Pufnstuf, produced by Sid and Marty Krofft. Marshall thought that she wasn't right for the part. Hayes got the role. Marshall first gained prominence as a television actress with the recurring guest role of Minna Turner on The Odd Couple. In Marshall's ultimate appearance as Minna Turner, Minna married her boyfriend, Sheldon, played by her then real-life husband, Rob Reiner, and briefly introduced her brother and sister, Werner Turner and Verna Turner. Before appearing on The Odd Couple, Marshall was considered to play the role of Gloria Bunker-Stivic on All in the Family. She ultimately lost the part to Sally Struthers while her husband, Rob Reiner, was cast as Gloria's husband, Michael Meathead Stivic. In 1974, James L. Brooks and Alan Burns, executive producers of the hit situation comedy, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, cast Marshall as Janice Dreyfus, sister-in-law to Paul Dreyfus in the series, Paul Sandin Friends and Lovers. It aired on CBS TV Saturday nights beginning September 14, 1974, as part of the powerhouse lineup of All in the Family, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Bob Newhart Show, and The Carol Burnett Show. Despite good reviews and decent ratings, it was cancelled mid-season. Brooks and Burns, along with studio head Grant Tinker, were so impressed with Marshall's comedic talent that the following season, they hired Marshall and actress Mary Kay Place to play Mary Richards' new neighbors on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, after Mary moved into her new apartment in a high-rise. Then Gary Marshall, creator part-time writer for Happy Days, cast his sister, Penny, and Cindy Williams to guest on an episode of that show. The installment, titled A Date with Fonzie, aired on November 11, 1975 and introduced the characters Laverne DeFazio and Shirley Feeney. In that episode, Laverne and Shirley were a pair of wisecracking brewery workers, who were dates for Fonzie and Richie. The pair was such a hit with the studio audience that Gary Marshall decided to co-create and star them in a hit spin-off, Laverne and Shirley. The characters of Laverne and Shirley also appeared in 5 more episodes of Happy Days. In 1983, while still filming Laverne and Shirley, Marshall guest-starred on Taxi in a cameo appearance as herself. In the Taxi episode Louie Moves Uptown, Marshall is turned down for residency in a new high-rise condo in Manhattan. The Laverne and Shirley episode Lost in Space Suits is referenced in the scene. At the encouragement of her brother, Marshall became interested in directing. She directed 4 episodes of Laverne and Shirley and other TV assignments. She soon moved on to theatrical films, her first film being Jumpin' Jack Flash starring Whoopi Goldberg. Marshall has directed several successful feature films since the mid-1980s, including 1988's Big starring Tom Hanks, Awakening starring Robin Williams and Robert De Niro, A League of Their Own with Gaynor Davis, Tom Hanks, Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell, and The Preacher's Wife starring Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston. In 1991, she was awarded the Women in Film Crystal Award. She lent her voice to Ms. Botts or Ms. Botzukowski, the Babysitter Bandit, on the first produced episode of The Simpsons, and played a cameo role as herself on the HBO series Entourage. She also made a cameo appearance alongside her brother Gary Marshall in the movie Hocus Pocus. She was reunited with her Laverne and Shirley co-star Cindy Williams on a November 2013 episode of Sam and Cat. Personal life: while attending the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque, Marshall met Michael Henry, a football player. She left college to marry him in 1961. They had a daughter, Tracy. Marshall worked as a secretary and later as a tap dance teacher. The marriage lasted 3 years. On April 10, 1971, Marshall married actor-director Rob Reiner, and her daughter took the name Tracy Reiner. Her marriage to Reiner lasted until 1981. Filmography. References. External links: Penny Marshall at the Internet Movie Database, Penny Marshall at the Internet Off-Broadway Database.